In today's video, we're going to build a slide-out multi-level storage unit. So for this barbecue storage project, we're going to build 3 small boxes. 2 of them are going to be about 7.5 inches tall and one's going to be about 3 inches tall. And we're going to use 2 forms of glue up or joinery. One, I'm going to use biscuit joiners with this DeWalt biscuit blade. I inherited this from a friend. I wouldn't normally buy this as a hobbyist. These are pretty expensive, but I'm going to use this for the first time. Should be fun. The other way we're going to use joinery is with a pocket hole jig and a specialized bit, and those come with specialized screws as well. With both of them, we're going to use wood glue. Typically, the biscuits are mostly for alignment, not for strength. The strength comes from the wood glue. And then the pocket joints as well, it's just for easeability and alignment as well. But the main strength comes from the wood glue. When you're making a new project and you're going to be cutting up multiple 4x8 sheets of ply, and you want to make sure you have the least amount of waste, you can go to a cool website called cutlistoptimizer.com. Put in all your measurements and they'll show you how to line and map those cuts up on the boards so you have the least amount of waste. So no one ever told me what pocket holes were, kind of how they functioned. So I'll go ahead and give you a quick explanation. It comes with typically a clamp like this, where you're going to have these 2 or 3 or 1 hole. The clamp goes on the piece of wood at a certain distance. Normally you'll have like this adjustment here that tells you how thick the wood is, or how, depending how thick your wood is, there's an adjustment. My little plastic thing broke off, so I have to do it by eye. Anyway, you clamp it on your piece of wood. It comes with a specialized bit. You can see that it's got a thicker shaft, and then at the very end it's a little bit of a thinner shaft. And once you've got the clamp on, you drill the hole through. It comes out like that. I went too far on this one. That one's perfect. And what it does is it creates this hole in here with a little bit of a ledge, and there's kind of specialized screws. You don't have to use these screws, but they come with the kit. And then they go inside and they sit on that ledge, and then they create that clamping force once it's screwed into the other piece. So you have to get your alignment right so you don't go through too far and create too big of a hole right here, and that's what you're looking for. These little strips I used to mount some LED strips on the underside of the second and third shelf. And here I'm making the aluminum linked rails and then rounding the corners off. I ended up using soft close bottom mounted drawer slides with an 80-pound rated capacity, and I'm definitely pushing close to probably 50 pounds maybe all included. When I picked up the 4x8 sheets of plywood for this, I was at Home Depot and they had two different kinds. One for about $95, which is like their normal, I think, birch. And then they had Ecuadorian 4x8 3/4 inch for $65 a piece. So I went with that one instead. Seemed just as good. A little bit darker in some areas and it had a different smell, but other than that, it was fine wood. And the one thing I didn't really go into great detail is on the soft close drawer rails. I just mounted them to a little mini box on the bottom, and then I mounted the box to a couple struts on the underside of the barbecue island. So this box is stationary, doesn't move. It holds all the weight when the storage is all the way out, so it won't tip up because it's kind of screwed down. If you do make a tackle box style storage unit like this, two important things to keep in mind: that this distance right here needs to be the same when you mount these rails on both sides and even on the lower side. So keep this distance exactly the same. And then on each individual box, make sure when you mount these two screws, they're on the exact same horizontal plane with each other, as well as like the height on each side matches, and then the height on these match as well. So the more symmetrical you have these, the better the action is when you're moving this storage unit up and down. I got lucky, or I kind of planned this where this unit sits on this planter box capstone, so I didn't have to deal with a lot of what happens if it's open all the way. So that was kind of the design. And then lastly, make sure you put Loctite on the nuts on the inside of these bolts, because they'll surely spin off over time.